Tanjiro Kamado, well, he's born in the world he knows the most. He is born in a world that things are simple, things are relaxing, things are very straightforward. He's a family person. He helps take care of his family. He does what he can, so on and so forth. But one day would change it all. Normally, Tanjiro would go down the mountain and help his family with, getting some money, getting some things for the new year and stuff like that. But this time around, he doesn't actually go anywhere. He doesn't leave at all. But what does happen, something that is insane, is a demon would show up, aka Muzan would show up to turn his sister into a demon. But since Tanjiro was there, well, Tanjiro would fall victim just as much as his entire family. But in doing so, and what happens? There's somebody currently watching. Somebody actually watching very, very closely. Actually, two people. One person that is basically the guardian of allowing people into the afterlife. And the other person is known as King Kai. They're watching this and they foresee something in the boy Tanjiro, foresee something deep inside of him that could allow him to help fix everything that is going on Earth right now. Because everything that is happening on Earth, they want it to stop, but they have no idea what they can do. And frankly, they can't really do much to get involved. But they do know that something needs to happen. And if something doesn't happen quick enough, well, things could go really wrong, really fast. And frankly, there's a good chance that people could start losing their lives even faster. And that's something that worries them very, very much so. So at the end of the day, they're going to do their absolute best to do something. They want to do something. So what they decide to do is they take Tanjiro in his actual physical form and they tell him exactly what happened, what's going on, and what's basically what is happening in general. And he's in shock. He's like, whoa, are you serious? Like you can't be serious. Like, my family, it's over. They're gone. Like, what can I do? What should I do? Is there anything I can do? Blah, blah, blah. And obviously there's very little he could actually do at this point. Very little in general as well. But the thing is, he has a choice to make. Does he allow himself to go on to the afterlife? Just, continue on and, approach in that direction. Decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm going to stay with my family in the afterlife, and that's what it's going to be. Or do I decide to do something different? Do I decide to go with this man known as King Kai, and do I become something else? Become something greater? And that is something that he has to truly figure out in his own head. And eventually, well, he would decide that that's what he's going to do. He would decide that he's going to do something different. He's going to become something different. And he's going to truly, truly help people everywhere. He believes that he can do something greater. He believes that he could truly help so many people. So many. Now, is any of this a guarantee? Can any of this happen for sure? He doesn't know. And there is no guarantee in life for any of this that could potentially happen. But he does know that they have to do something. And that something needs to be now. So that's what he does. He immediately is thinking, all right, you know what? Something has to be done. I need to get something done. I need to get stronger. I need to get more prepared. I need to somehow save people. And that's something he looks at as well. He sees that his sister Nezuko, is now a demon, and she needs his help more than ever. She needs his help more than you could possibly imagine. And that's something that Tanjiro thinks about too, because he's thinking, no, I can't just leave my sister on her own. I can't just leave her and have her, get hurt or injured or anything like that. I can't. I will not, and I cannot allow that to happen. So Tanjiro knows he has to do something, and King Kai offers him a way to do just that. And that way, the way to do anything, is through something that is known as the Kaioken. something that King Kai has mastered and truly has understood to a degree that nobody can even freaking imagine. But at the same time, well, let's just say Tanjiro has a lot of work to do and has very little time to basically do it. Because, well, yes, time does, well, react differently where they are currently, but it doesn't change the fact that it's not going to be easy, right? It's not going to be simple. None of it is going to be simple. But at the same time, everybody here, everybody truly knows that something else could truly happen here. And Tanjiro, well, he begins to learn. He begins to figure things out. He begins to learn as much as possible. And that includes learning something known as the Kaioken. And time may be moving slower, but the Kaioken is not an easy thing to figure out, and it takes him quite a while to figure it out. The Kaioken is one hell of a strenuous ability, and Tanjiro, well, he's doing everything in his power to figure it out, learn it, and try to figure anything out just a little bit after a little bit. He's trying to figure any of it out. And he knows that there's a struggle behind it, and he knows that he is going to struggle massively behind it. But at the same time, he knows that he needs to do something, so that's what he does. Learns the Kaioken, prepares himself at an insane rate, prepares himself kind of like to a degree that nobody has thought about, and Tanjiro pushes his body beyond everything. And it starts just as normal, like a normal training session, and just doing things normally. And he also then moves to King Kai's planet, which is at an insane gravity level, which it takes him an entire year in the afterlife to actually deal with. Luckily enough, there's some things that have been, situated where Nezuko kind of is okay. Now, we don't know where Nezuko is, like he legitimately doesn't really know, but he knows that Nezuko is okay, at least to an extent. She could be in danger before you know it, but he knows that at least for now, she's safe. And after a long time up in the sky, basically up in the heavens, he finally would come back down, more prepared than ever, on the search for his little sister. And that's what he would be doing, searching for his little sister. But the thing is, he can't find her anywhere, can't figure it out, can't figure any of it out, and he doesn't know where the hell she could even be. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to him. Like, how can she be gone? Like, she's completely gone. She's out of here. He doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand how, where, or anything along those lines. And he's thinking to himself, like, okay, what can I do? What can I do to figure this out? What can I do to figure out where Nezuko is? What can I do to figure out any of this? Like, any of it. And, of course, he struggles. He has a hard time finding Nezuko and has a hard time finding his sister. But eventually, he would find her. Eventually, he would actually come across her. And luckily enough, she's just hidden away. He doesn't know what happened or what transpired during that time, but he finds her and finds her that she's hidden away. And he eventually would take her and kind of get into a good spot or a better spot to where they're both safe to a certain extent. But of course, they're not going to be safe always and forever. And Tanjiro knows that. He knows that they're not always going to be safe. But luckily, someone will actually show up. Somebody who they know, or they don't know actually, and someone who they'll learn about very, very soon would show up. And that would be Urokodaki. Urokodaki would show up, and this would be just monumental for Tanjiro. This would be the chance he needed to train, chance he needed to get stronger, and the chance he needed to obviously get better. And this was truly his opportunity and truly his chance to take his kind of skill, take his strength, take his ability to the very next level. And that right there is truly his chance, his opportunity. And Tanjiro, well, he puts his best foot forward that he possibly can, and he basically approaches things completely with with as much just wanting to learn and wanting to know knowledge and how to train and all this stuff, and he tries to learn everything from this man, everything from Urokodaki, and he basically talks to him, learns from him, and breaks everything down from him, and he would eventually start learning about water breathing and stuff like that. And everything that he has learned from King Kai, everything that he's figured out, now helps him to a drastic degree, because Tanjiro is learning everything you could possibly think of in terms of fighting style, in terms of slicing and swordsmanship and all of the above. But then he shows Urokodaki something, shows him what he can do. He shows him the Kaioken. And the Kaioken is something he can't really use beyond legitimately just base Kaioken. Legitimately just a passive kind of push in terms of his strength and speed. Other than that, though, he can't even rank it up to 2 times. Like, he legitimately can use it as a base, right? And as a tool to power him up and make his body at its peak level. Something that, Goku or something that those other fighters that have utilized it have done in the past. But since they have, amped it up and understood it and controlled it so much greater, they could use it in a 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and so on fashion. But he can only use it in a simple fashion of just legitimately boosting his kind of strength and speed very, very slightly. Because he knows that if he ranks it up to 2 times, it will destroy his body. At least that's what he understands for now, until he learns more and more about something known as ki. He doesn't know too much about it, and they didn't have enough time to really break down everything, but he understands the premise of ki, how to utilize it to an extent, but he also knows that he really, really needs to stay completely focused, completely ready, and just, under control, because if he's not careful, there's a really good chance that he just croaks over and his body absolutely destroys itself. And in all honesty, that is the last thing he would want to occur. He would definitely not want his body to just obliterate itself. So he's going to make sure that he keeps tabs on everything, and he's going to make sure to not go too overboard on certain ideas and certain things that he wants to make sure that it doesn't go too insane in terms of legitimately destroying his body. Now, with that said, Tanjiro goes through Urokodaki's training, fully goes through all of his training, and this would obviously lead him to getting quite a bit stronger, quite a bit better, and all of the above, really getting way further in kind of the idea of everything that he's been training for, and so on and so forth. And yeah, eventually he would perfect, or at least to an extent perfect, the things he needed to learn, and perfect to the certain things that he needed to figure out. And luckily enough, he figures those things out, and it prepares him for what we know as the final selection. But the final selection, Tanjiro goes over there after training, after learning from the ghosts of kind of Sabito and Makomo and those people. After training with them, he's able to utilize Kaioken at its very base, but it makes him so much more powerful and so much more capable that he's able to legitimately clear the entirety of the final selection before you know it. And everybody is in awe. They see this red aura just oozing off of him, and they wonder, how is he doing that? What's going on? I've never seen a breathing style this way, and there's a lot of questions. But before the questions could come in and really be asked, Tanjiro was already out of there after slaying every demon, including the hand demon, getting revenge for his, pseudo family as well, and heading right back to Mount Sagiri to see Urokodaki and his little sister, Nezuko. And of course, this is when he would embark on his first mission as a demon slayer, meeting up with someone by the name of Kazumi, and of course, some crazy stuff is going down. We obviously learn about the kidnappings and some sort of demon. And Tanjiro says that he'll be waiting here. He'll be waiting here at night to make sure that he can handle the demon that shows up. And when it shows up, he will handle his business. And when this conversation ends, he starts realizing something. He starts realizing that this is why he was brought to that other world. This is why he was trained by legitimately a god. And this is why he was prepared in such way. Because he realizes and learns that, guess what? All of this is for a reason. Every single little bit. All of it is for a reason. And at the end of the day, it seems as if people all around, there's a good chance that these people cannot defend themselves, cannot really help themselves. And he knows that they have to be the ones to do so. They have to be the ones to help those in need, and they have to be the ones to do their absolute best. And that's exactly what he's thinking about. He needs to be a part of it. He needs to be a part of everything that is occurring, and he needs to be a part of kind of like this next generation that could stop this horrible madness from occurring. This is what needs to be done, and this is what needs to happen. And as the night would fall, and eventually the demon would come out, the swamp demon would ensue, there is no waiting, there is no kind of lollygagging or anything. Tanjiro would go to end the demon as quick as possible, as swiftly as possible, and he would do just that. So much so that he would actually kind of get a little bit riled up and angry to the point where he actually utilizes Kaioken at 2 times, unknowingly doing so, slicing the neck off the demon instantly, like legitimately instantly, and he feels his body turn, twist, pull, and ache, and he realizes, oh my goodness, okay, so this is what it feels like. This is what it's going to feel like. But he realizes that it's doable. He can hold it. He can kind of feel the pain, but he can understand it, and he can make sure that his body can get more prepared, and he knows he could use it in small bursts because he just did right there unknowingly, like without truly realizing he was going to utilize it. And that helps him greatly. Something that he wants to lean on, but something he doesn't want to overuse so he doesn't crash and burn his body till there's nothing left. Now this would ensue in him kind of helping out the village just a little bit until it's all over and done with. He obviously slayed the swamp demon, but then he would head off to his next encounter. His next encounter would be at the city that never sleeps, and it would be his first encounter with Muzan. And Muzan, well, he's not much to chat with. He doesn't want to talk. Obviously, Tanjiro, he's mad, he's angry, saying this and that. But Muzan turns somebody into a demon and sends him after him. Pretty quickly, in fact. Because when Tanjiro would get met up by 2 other demons by the name of Lady Tamayao and Yushiro, before you know it, when they're chatting about, okay, how are we going to save Nezuko? How are we going to turn her back into a human? Blah, blah, blah. After that is ensued, right after that conversation is had, 2 demons would show up, Susumaru and Yahaba. And Tanjiro, well, he would not be wanting to have any conversations, no lollygag, no nothing. He wants to take these 2 out now. Now, it's a little bit more difficult than the swamp demon. These 2 are pretty damn strong. Tanjiro struggles somewhat to an extent, but he kind of ramps up his Kaioken once again, using it at that base level where it's only small, little, tiny bits of kind of elevation in terms of strength and power and speed, and he uses it to kind of keep up with the speed that these demons are portraying. And he knows that with this alone, he can take on these 2. He can defeat these 2. But with the help of Lady Tamayao, Nezuko, and Yushiro, they're able to truly sweep through these 2 demons and defeat them before, well, any more trouble would ensue. And, well, let's just say after they're defeated, Yushiro and Lady Tamayao ask about the power that he just portrayed. And they ask him a lot of questions about how he was able to do it, what is happening, and how it occurred. And they also ask him a couple questions about the fact that, like, how was he able to do it, right? How was he able to really do that? and where's that strength coming from? And he basically tells him, like, look, the strength for the most part comes from a ability or a kind of a training mechanism that they utilize known as the Kaioken. And it allows him, well, to do quite a bit in terms of his strength, in terms of his ability, in terms of so much that they wouldn't really believe to a certain extent. And he tells them at the end of the day, it's something that he's learned and something that he'll continue to progress and learn more and more about, because it's something that he truly believes is going to help him and so many others before you could possibly even know it. And they hear this from Tanjiro and they're thinking, okay, like, we hear you, kid. Like, we get it. We 100% understand where you're coming from. This ability, like, it might be helpful for other demon slayers. It might be, helpful for them to learn it. And he says, like, maybe it will be, but he has no idea if he can teach it. He has no idea if the person that taught him it would teach them it either. He might just be on his own, at least in that regard. And eventually that conversation would end, and they would basically send him off and let him leave, as he would head off to another place to take out some demons, which would be a nearby mansion that he would run into one of his companions, or a new companion that he just meets, known as Zenitsu, getting him to come help him away from a girl that he's begging to basically become his wife. Zenitsu goes with Tanjiro, and Tanjiro just says, stay close, everything will be okay, blah, blah, blah. And he would listen, but unfortunately the mansion itself would have its other twists and turns, and Nezuko would have to deal with things on his own. But Tanjiro, well, he would have to deal with a demon that is of a kind of Kizuki type caliber. He's no longer part of the 12 Kizuki, but he once was. And Tanjiro encounters Kyogai and has to take him on one-on-one. At least initially that's what he was thinking. Because Inosuke, someone else with a boar mask, would come out of nowhere and just be like there and basically trying to fight anything in his sight. But luckily enough, Tanjiro's able to kind of calm things down to an extent. And eventually he gets his fight with Kyogai. And Tanjiro decides that this might be a time for a small burst of Kaioken, in which immediately Tanjiro would charge up and he would kind of hold his sword in a way that it looked like he's going to strike. Kyogai would question what he's doing, and immediately Tanjiro would say, Kaioken. And as he says this, he says ×2, and he would dash at Kyogai as Kyogai is saying, Kaio what? And as he says it, immediately Tanjiro would slice the neck straight off of Kyogai, and Tanjiro would collapse to the ground in, well, pain. I mean, it would hurt. And he would realize that he really needs to get his body properly trained and ready, even more than what it is, so that the ×2 Kaioken doesn't take such an insane toll when he utilizes it for only just a split second. I mean, it hurts. It hurts bad. It doesn't make it so he can't walk or do anything like that. He can definitely still fight, but it hurts. Like, it's like a pain that he definitely doesn't want to inflict on himself. But luckily, he's able to handle the demon known as Kyogai, get the blood from the demon to send to Lady Tamayao, and then he is now ready and prepared to exit the mansion. And as he exits that mansion, well, he would see Nezuko, well, in her box, and Zenitsu protecting it from Inosuke. And Inosuke would be going crazy, trying to get into the box, trying to hurt the box, trying to kill the box. But of course, Zenitsu would help out and protect it with his life. And eventually, well, it seems like Inosuke would chill out a little bit and calm down after Tanjiro would go head to head with him in a fight. But while they're fighting, it's actually a lot closer even without Kaioken, because Tanjiro's just fighting ability is a lot better than it would be in its normal state, just in a normal change of pace. And his body itself is a lot more powerful too, just naturally, because of all the kind of insane training he's done. Because yes, he was under 10 times gravity, but he wasn't under it like all the time. of course, this is because King Kai understood that the kid wouldn't be able to survive in that all the time. It would just be impossible for him to do so, especially in the time that they were allotted. But they did their best with what they had, and Tanjiro was able to keep up, if not outclass Inosuke in a fighting style, fighting hand-to-hand combat ability, and eventually he's defeated, and Tanjiro tells him that he has to basically fall in line for now, right? He understands that, Inosuke wants this or that or wants to do this, but he has to fall in line, at least right now, because, well, they have a lot to do, a lot to handle, and a lot to deal with. And the last thing he wants to be dealing with is Inosuke going crazy about this or that or doing this or doing that. And he's telling him, like, chill out, take a breath, don't do all this, nonsense. And, yeah, and that's what he basically gets him to just chill out and stop doing. And Tanjiro, for the most part, kind of leads them in the right direction in terms of what they should be doing, what they should be handling, and what they should be getting into. And with that said, this would eventually push them in the direction of kind of, dealing with, another mission. But before this mission begins, they actually get a chance to take a bit of a break, right? A bit of a time off or a bit of a timeout where they can at least take a chance, take a breather, and, not completely lose their minds. And that, of course, is always good. It's always good to take a breather and take a chance and take a breath from everything that's occurring. Excuse me. So it's always good for them to take that moment, and that's exactly what they're able to do. They're able to take that moment and take a chance to relax. And this old lady actually feeds them and stuff like that, which is always good and always a good thing to especially be grateful for as well. And yeah, that's what happens. That's what ensues for the next little bit. And Tanjiro, well, he has kind of something to really do and something to look forward to, especially with wanting to train with these two other demon slayers, but also to work with so many more. He believes like this could be truly helpful. Like this could really help everyone, everything, and there could be some really, really good things that occur because of, everybody that's around. And he believes like having more people working with him, having more people around and all this other stuff, like this could truly be something great. This could be truly something helpful for him and also helpful for everybody else. Now, with that said, though, Tanjiro would then basically push them to going on to their next mission. Now, their next mission is something of a kind of scary one because it's at a mountain known as Mount Natagumo. Now, Mount Natagumo seems to be overrun with demons, or a family of demons, and even a lot of demon slayers are getting lost up there. So Tanjiro and Inosuke, discover these demon slayer puppets, and this is a scary sight, a very scary one. But Tanjiro and Inosuke are able to handle the puppets, getting them somewhat to safety depending on the circumstance. Some of them are, unfortunately sent to the afterlife, but they do their best, and eventually their eyes are definitely locked on to trying to find the mother spider demon. But first, they have to take on the mother spider demon's doll, which Tanjiro, with his enhanced speed and strength, is able to hold it off, while Inosuke comes from above to actually take out that doll or mother spider demon's doll. And as Inosuke would handle that, they would then prepare to eliminate the mother spider demon, which in one foul swoop, Tanjiro would be able to do so, but he would utilize a technique that would make it so that she wouldn't go through like this ridiculously insane pain that she possibly could have if he decided, you know what, I'm going to let you have it. I don't care that that like you're sad about this or sad about that. Like he could have just decided to do whatever he wanted to do, but he decided, you know what, I'm going to take it easy. I'm not gonna make you freaking get hurt like that. So he doesn't, right? He helps out where he can, and he eliminates her in a very like a very peaceful way to an extent. And of course, this is when, Tanjiro would eliminate that demon and be on the lookout to basically take out any other demon. But as they're kind of looking for any other of these, family demons that are around, eventually he would come across the father demon. Unable to actually react to that demon, at least before, something occurred, he had no idea he was even there. He would get slapped across the mountain all the way to where the main demon is, known as Rui, who is berating his quote-unquote sister. And Tanjiro, well, he does not take this lightly, and he says that he has a sister of his own, and they should be treated with the utmost respect. But Rui, he doesn't see it this way, and he doesn't care what Tanjiro thinks, what Tanjiro says, and what Tanjiro believes. And he tells him that he'll be taking his sister after he defeats Tanjiro right here and right now. But Tanjiro, hearing this, something awakens inside of him, a rage and anger that he refuses to even think about the consequences of utilizing Kaioken. And before you know it, he's utilizing it 2 times. And as he's utilizing it at a 2x multiplier, not only would his aura all around him spark up a red, but his sword would glow brighter than you could imagine as he utilizes the power of the sun, utilizing the Hinokami Kagura. And as he's utilizing it, well, let's just say Nezuko is right beside him, going to attack Rui at the same time. And Rui's in shock. He's never seen a human move this fast. He's never thought this would ensue or this could occur. He never knew that someone could even do this. And before you know it, Rui's neck would be off of his body. But he would basically believe that this is not over. That Rui basically says oh, you think you defeated me? That's cute. Really, yeah, you were fast, you were quick, but I can see that you're slowing down. I can see that your body can't handle whatever you just did. But Tanjiro stands his ground, refusing to give up, refusing to let up. But as he's ready to strike down once again, ready to basically sacrifice his body once again, someone would tap him on the shoulder. He would turn his head and he would see somebody that he's actually never seen before. His name is Giyu Tomioka, and Giyu tells him that he will handle the rest. He stalled enough, he gave enough time, and luckily for the infinite babbling that this demon has done, well, it seems like Tanjiro, well, he can take a back step and doesn't have to fight any longer. Tanjiro would then back up as he can feel his body just, being sore and hurting a lot more. And maybe what that guy said, the demon said, was right. Maybe he's right? Yes, I am hurting. Yes, I am weaker. Yes, it hurts my body, but it doesn't mean it's over. Tanjiro watches as Giyu would defeat this demon so easily, and another mindset would creep into Tanjiro's mind, thinking that everything that he's done so far is so little. He needs to do more. He needs to be better, because at the end of the day, 2 times, Kaioken times 2 is only 2 times a person's strength and a person's power. So if his power is lacking, so is the Kaioken, and that's on him. So he watches as Giyu handles the job, and he's just in shock and awe. But as he's watching all this happen, he's then knocked out, and his little sister is taken as well, and they're taken away and basically put on a prosecution, basically told well, who's to say that we shouldn't end you and this and that. But luckily enough, a letter would come, and Urokodaki would even get Giyu Tomioka to vouch as well. Someone who has no idea who this person is, but takes the word of his master very, very, very seriously, or his sensei very seriously. So they both agree that if Nezuko touches, kills, or hurts a human, that they will be held responsible just as much, but to give this kid a chance because he has potential beyond anybody's imagination, because he was trained by something that is unspeakable and something that they would never be able to understand. And they decide, the master of all the demon slayers, Ubuyashiki, would decide, you know what? Fine. Agreed. We're going to give Nezuko the chance. And they are demon slayers, and that includes Nezuko. And we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And we're going to give them an opportunity to prove themselves. And that's exactly what Tanjiro is going to do as he trains, prepares, and he gets everything in order for this entire situation where he's now rehabilitating, he's getting more powerful, and he's preparing his Kaioken and his own body to an even larger degree, something that he believes would make even Rui light work, even any other demon, make it look very easy. But he better hope that this training is enough, and eventually learning more about his own breathing style known as sun breathing from Rengoku would be enough, because he has one of the most insane, one of the most horrible battles ahead of him, a battle that he will never forget, but a battle that will tell them and all the demon slayers that the demons, especially Muzan, fear Tanjiro just as much as humans fear demons. Tanjiro Kamado is now, finishing up his training. And when he goes through this entire training, his rehabilitation training, I mean, he legitimately has a lot to push through, because he gets far stronger, like a lot stronger, a lot more capable and all of the above, because he's now learning all of the capabilities he could truly utilize when, legitimately, utilizing breathing styles. Now, he doesn't really, figure out too much about his quote-unquote fire breathing or whatever it would be, which obviously we know as sun breathing, but he doesn't quite know. But at the same time, he's trying to figure out a little bit more, right? But all of this extra training he got when he was younger, all of this extra stuff that he got when he was training with King Kai, and all these ideas and kind of abilities, all of this has helped him to a drastic degree. Like, we are talking a drastic degree. He knows quite a bit, and it seems as if his strength is only elevating with learning so much about breathing styles and how to use concentration breathing as well as he possibly can. And in doing so, this only helps him with utilizing the Kaioken, making his body a lot more durable and making his body a lot more available to actually utilize the Kaioken that he wants to use. And with all this training through the rehabilitation, it has helped him so much. And that would ensue in him actually going after Rengoku after a while, him, Inosuke, and Zenitsu, to figure out what Rengoku is all about and also ask him some questions. Now, meeting him is pretty straightforward. I mean, they learned that he's like this nice, super happy type of person, but he's super powerful. They watch him completely slay a demon immediately, and they're like, oh, please, like, be our, like, sensei, be our master and train us and blah, blah, blah. And, of course, Rengoku's, as he always is happy to do so and all this other stuff. But before you know it, they are put to sleep. The demon slayers that are there are put to sleep and have to actually watch everything that they know unfold. Now, Tanjiro goes through an entire kind of simulation or dream that is legitimately his family. He sees his family, he sees everything, and it's very, very sad. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the family he wishes and wants for every single day. But of course, he doesn't have it. He doesn't. They're gone. But he doesn't know that. And it's definitely a messed up situation when he's trying to figure it out. But eventually, he would figure things out. Because before you know it, he would get something that will remind him of the Nezuko that he knows right now. And the Nezuko that, is, a demon, right? That version of Nezuko. And he finally understands that this is all just a dream, something that he can't just live through the entirety of the time, and he has to jump back to reality. And when he does, he jumps back to reality with a vengeance, because he gets up and he wakes up from that dream, and he wants whatever demon that put him in there, he wants them defeated. He wants them gone. He refuses to kind of let the idea that they could just get away with that and it will stay like that. So he goes after the demon, other known as Enmu, and before Enmu could even say a word, he would slice through the neck of Enmu. At least he would think that was the version he needed, but soon he would realize, or would learn, that is actually the front of the train. But this version of Tanjiro is so much stronger than the original, and he goes after it by himself, activating Kaioken at times too, and he goes for it all, immediately slicing through all the demons throughout the train, or at least all the tendrils and stuff that get sent around, and he slices the front of the train in half, like legitimately slices the front of the train in half, basically cutting off the neck of Enmu himself, and doing so defeating and also putting down the demon relatively quickly. And everybody that was legitimately there, like Inosuke, Rengoku, Zenitsu, they all help clean up the rest of the train and stuff like that. But then it is now, well, time for them to kind of evacuate everybody, get everybody to safety. But the thing is, what they weren't expecting was the arrival of another demon, the demon known as Akaza, an Upper Moon demon, the Upper Moon 3. And this right here is something Tanjiro would not and could not ever expect. But when Rengoku and him go head to head, Akaza and Rengoku, Tanjiro jumps in the fray to give it his absolute all. Utilizing Kaioken times 2, he's able to actually keep up and maybe even play at a higher kind of fighting level than even Rengoku. But luckily Rengoku has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. So the fact is, it's not like Tanjiro is like hands down stronger than Rengoku, but it's that he legitimately has just raw strength that's better, just not full technique. And in doing so, this allows for Akaza to, really not be able to finish the fight the way he wants to end the fight. Now, this is the same for Tanjiro and Rengoku, though. Tanjiro and Rengoku cannot finish this fight, not to the degree, that they want to. And Rengoku and Tanjiro do take some pretty brutal hits, but with Tanjiro fighting at such a high rapid pace, well, Akaza is in not only complete shock about the fact that a human is this fast and this powerful, but he also is in kind of complete shock that this mission isn't as easy as he thought it was going to be. He's an Upper Moon demon. He thought this was going to be easy, that this was going to be nothing, but he lied or whatever, or he was lying to himself, or at least underestimated the people that are in front of him, because this wasn't easy. This was far from easy, and it was never going to be easy. And Tanjiro Kamado, well, he made sure of that specifically. And, well, let's just say Tanjiro absolutely put the work, especially trying to help Rengoku, did everything in his power, did everything he possibly could. And frankly, it was more than enough to, well, not defeat Akaza, but at least to stall him out until the sun would rise, and Akaza would run away like a scared, a scared person or scared little kid, running away for his life and for his safety, as Rengoku would live this time around, though. And, well, guess what? With having Rengoku around, Tanjiro has another mentor to work with, but also someone else that he can basically learn from, figure things out, and also learn more about sun breathing from, because that right there, that's something that needs to kind of be thought about. And, well, Tanjiro, after all this is said and done, they head back to the Butterfly Mansion. They recover, they do all this other stuff, and kind of take a break so that they can not like have their bodies completely shredded to pieces. Tanjiro, keeps up with his training, his preparation with sun breathing, and he even goes, Tanjiro and Rengoku go to see Rengoku's family about learning more about sun breathing. And of course, Rengoku's father is, the piece of work that he is normally, but they do get a lot of information about sun breathing, and Rengoku's little brother isn't really like holding anything back, giving them all the information they possibly can, and Tanjiro learns as much as he possibly can about sun breathing, and he continues training sun breathing as much as he possibly can, and that right there is giving him such a level up that really the demons are not necessarily ready for. Yes, he has Kaioken, and yes, he has powers that are, pretty damn impressive and are going to be very difficult to deal with. But at the same time, Tanjiro knows and understands that there's so much more. There's so much to, break down, so much to figure out, because sun breathing, it's not that straightforward. It isn't. It's not. So he's trying his absolute best, but with the help of Rengoku, he is able to understand and figure things out a lot better and a lot sooner than he ever would have. And this would put him in a way better situation, a way better scenario when he goes and helps Tengen Uzui, who basically try to kidnap, two random girls to get help. But Tanjiro, and Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke decide, okay, well, we'll join you on this mission. And this mission is to basically figure out if Tengen's wives are not only okay, but also figure out what's going on in this area, this village. And well, let's just say there's two demons there, or at least one that they know of by the name of Daki, that shows her face pretty damn soon, and Tanjiro would even go one-on-one with, and would prove that his level of skill and power is beyond what people are imagining. And at the end of the day, Daki knows to take this guy seriously, so we get a fight between Tanjiro, Daki, but also with Gyutaro as well, because guess what? They know that this is serious and this is going to come down to the very end. But before you know it, Inosuke, Tanjiro, Tengen, and also Zenitsu would be all together once again to actually fight on a pretty Demon Slayer sided playing field here, because Tengen is pretty powerful in himself, being able to keep up with someone like Gyutaro. But Tanjiro, his level and his strength is pretty damn up there as well. So, or if not even on a higher level than maybe the Hashira that stands next to him. And with his utilization of sun breathing, and with Nezuko actually evolving during this, or at least, getting more powerful, learning more about her blood demon art, it allows all of them to basically defeat Daki and Gyutaro in a very, very quick fashion. In a fashion that really Muzan and many others were not expecting, especially the demons, having no clue the level that Tanjiro's at. But they should have really assumed when Akaza, an upper 3 moon, wasn't able to finish the job on any of the people there, any of the Demon Slayers. The job of Akaza was to get rid of Tanjiro. He wasn't able to do that. And the fact is, he wasn't able to get rid of any of them. So guess what? This is the real deal, and Muzan starts realizing it very, very quickly, that this kid, Tanjiro Kamado, whatever happened, whatever he's come from, he is the real deal. And the fact is, he needs to be taken quite a bit more seriously, and he needs to be taken very, very seriously. And after this, fight at the entertainment district, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu, with whatever injuries they have, they go, they heal up, they recover, and they continue their training, pushing their bodies further and further past their limits. And Tanjiro, eventually would take up any opportunity to get more powerful and get stronger, and that opportunity would lead him to the Swordsmith's village, getting a more durable and better sword, but also getting a chance to work with Mitsuri Kanroji, aka the love-breathing Hashira, but also someone by the name of Genya that he has seen before, but he can't pinpoint exactly where he comes from, but also another Hashira by the name of Muchiro, who doesn't really like Tanjiro very much, but any chance Tanjiro gets, he is training, preparing, especially with the Yoriichi Type 0, believing that that is going to help him to a large degree, help him get stronger, help him get more prepared, and just prepare him overall for everything that is to come and everything that is going to happen. And well, luckily he is preparing himself, because it seems like Muzan already has plans to send demons to the Swordsmith's village, and this is where we see Tanjiro at his fullest extent, fighting alongside Mitsuri and some other demon slayers to take down Hantengu. Now, Hantengu goes through various forms. Hantengu is a demon that has, well, various versions of himself, and they see this quickly when they cut off the first head, and they see that, oh, there are many other versions of Hantengu, and many more versions of him are to come as well. And we see this occur when basically they chop off or blow off the head of Hantengu on multiple versions of himself, all the way until what? The one person, or the one that is, well, pretty damn, if not borderline, the scariest version of him, and that one is something else. Hantengu's manifestation of hatred, and Tanjiro, well, with Mitsuri, is, well, they're trying to keep up, trying to dodge these dragons that are getting sent his way. Turning his Kaioken up to ×2, he would then keep up, and he would tell the demon, as all this is ensuing, that he came here to defeat them. Did he know that he was here? Did he know that Tanjiro Kamado was here? And the demon really doesn't respond, but he calls him kind of like an idiot and this and that. But Tanjiro tells him that he survived a battle with an upper 3 moons, someone stronger than him. Why did he think that this was the idea? That Muzan's idea to send demons here was going to be a good one? What was the overarching plan? What was truly going to happen? And this would just piss off the manifestation of hatred even more. But Tanjiro tells him that he will be the one that gets to see something different, and gets to see something that no other demon has seen, in which Tanjiro channels up even more power. His aura turns even redder, and it's odd to look at, but it expands, and he says Kaioken ×3. And as he does, he dashes toward the manifestation of hatred of Hantengu, slicing him into pieces before he could even react. And eventually, the next version, if not, well, the main version of Hantengu would manifest. And, well, it might be just a bigger version of him, but Tanjiro would then know now that the real version is a small little teeny weeny version of him hiding away. And as the sun would be close to rising, Tanjiro would find that little version of him and cut his head clean off. And, well, let's just say there's a sense of relief that goes over Tanjiro. He just utilized his power to a higher degree at a pretty easy rate. And he feels like this power that he has continues to grow, continues to get better, and it's only going to prepare him more for his eventual fight with Muzan. But this relief would make him forget that the sun is rising and his sister is burning in the sun, in which he would freak out, trying to get over to help her, but Nezuko would put her hand out, basically telling him to stop, in which he looks and he sees the burn marks on her skin would clear up. No longer burning, it would clear up, and she would heal, and his eyes would grow wide, and he would be in shock, thinking, there's no way. My sister, Nezuko, she just conquered the sun, in which this would make Muzan question everything. She might have conquered the sun, But what does this mean? Truly, what does this mean? Because if they decide to fight now, who's to say they truly win? But of course, Muzan is overconfident. He believes they will win. But the Demon Slayers, they have a totally different idea, totally different thought process, because they're going to go through hell to make sure that the demons do not win on this coming day. And they train like crazy, obviously. They go through Hashira-based training. And even Tanjiro gets in on some extra training that he can, help out and do what he can. Because in terms of skill level, strength, and all the above, he's pretty far ahead of a lot of people, even just in base. And on top of that, he is pretty damn well skilled in pretty decent martial arts as well. But overall, they get one hell of a training session in as, they go through the Hashira training. And then all the way up until the Demon Slayers face off against the demons at the Infinity Castle. And the Infinity Castle is something that many of them never thought their lives would see. But that's exactly what they'll see. Where the Demon Slayers are split up, sent throughout the entirety of the castle, and they face off with respective demons. But Tanjiro, well, he faces off with Akaza. And who's next to him? Well, it's the one and only Rengoku. Because at the end of the day, this is a rematch Akaza was waiting for, and a rematch he wanted so badly. But he wonders, are they stronger? Are they more powerful? Well, he doesn't know, and frankly, at this point, he doesn't care. Because he knows that the only people that gave him a challenge were these two combined, and he knows that he needs to put them down for good. And the fight between the two Demon Slayers versus the demon is a fantastic one. Tanjiro keeps up with the pace and makes sure that Akaza is basically unable to read his movements to a large degree, utilizing every single sun-breathing technique within his arsenal, amping his power all the way with ×3 Kaioken, in which he's able to utilize pretty well, not without strain or anything, but pretty well, because every version of Kaioken will induce strain. But he is able to keep up, if not outpace Akaza to an extent, and Rengoku and also Tanjiro line up for one final shot at it, one final blow. And Rengoku asks if it's time, if they should use it, but Tanjiro would shake his head, telling him, no, it's not that time yet. And he says that it's too much of a risk, especially right now. But Rengoku tells him, or asks him, are you sure? Because we have to get him out of here, and we have to get him out now. In which Tanjiro says that they will, and he promises that, as he would crank up his Kaioken to 4 times, and they would go striking at Akaza, and Rengoku would give his absolute all to take down this freak of nature. But eventually one slice of the neck would ensue, and Akaza would be defeated. At least that's what they would think, until Akaza is back on his feet, fighting without a head entirely. But eventually his body would give out, realizing that this was a fight that he lost, and this was a fight he no longer wants to continue, because his morals, his pride, and all the above, it's just too much for him to really, put down and be like, oh yeah, I can keep fighting even though I just lost. So he puts it all away. He decides to stay away from it, and he decides to take the defeat. And Tanjiro and Rengoku look at each other, and they collapse to their knees, exhausted, but realizing that the job is far from finished, and knowing that everybody else, they might still need some help. And obviously they go around, they look for anybody, but they can't find them. But they do find somebody, and that somebody is Muzan himself. And Muzan, well, he automatically is thinking to himself that if you want the job done right, if you want the job done correctly, you have to do it yourself. And Muzan and Tanjiro face off truly for the first time. and they face off, well, with Rengoku standing next to him, and they go head to head. Yes, Muzan is outclassing Rengoku and outclassing Tanjiro to a large degree, at least to a certain degree. But with a combination of sun breathing and Tanjiro's 4 times Kaioken, he's able to ramp up his own strength and ability as if he is a demon himself. Even, well, Muzan is thinking that this kid, if he was infected and he got him to become a demon, he might have been the most powerful of them all, maybe even more powerful than Muzan himself. And that right there is a statement that Muzan refuses to admit, at least out loud, but is something he is thinking about in the back of his psyche. But the fight is extensive all the way till sunrise, and luckily other demon slayers would show up to help Tanjiro in this fight, at least help him as much as they possibly can. And these other demon slayers, Hashira alike, are giving it their absolute all, and they realize that the sun is almost on its way up, and they only need to stall out for a little bit longer, and that is truly all they need. Because when Muzan would slide back, he would look in the distance to see all of them lined up, see all of them together, and he would think about it for a second, saying that all of them will fall today, every last one of them will die, and then eventually he will conquer this earth, conquer the planet entirely. Demons will reign supreme as the higher, basically, the higher species on this planet. As he's saying all of these things, and as Muzan's going in for the ending of this all, as Muzan's unleashing all the power he possibly can, out of nowhere, he would see something. The bright red light. One from Tanjiro. A bright red light as he screams Kaioken times 5. Ramping up his power, and his muscles begin to tear, but he's not the only one that shows that red light. All the way down the line, Hashira's alike, the red aura would spark, and a large red aura would cover every last one of them, every last one of the Hashira, as their bodies would break and shatter and tear as well, not being used to this power, especially not being prepared for it, because they only had so much time to truly train with it, and Tanjiro is no King Kai. All of them utilize it as much as they possibly can, times 2 Kaioken across the board, and every Hashira, they go in and they attack Muzan at the fastest speed they possibly can, and Muzan's in shock, thinking they can't keep up with this power, this strength, whatever they're doing. They can't keep up with it. Can they? Maybe they can. And Muzan starts questioning himself, trying to block, but he gets limbs chopped off. He gets everything destroyed. But obviously, he can still regenerate, but he is struggling. He is struggling mightily, and everything that he's doing is failing. And the sun, well, it begins to rise, and as it begins to rise, he tries everything to get away, to run away scared like a big baby. And that's exactly what he turns into, trying to get away and trying anything for his last efforts. But eventually, they would slow him down just enough and injure him just enough to where he can't get away, and the sun would burn him up into ashes, and the red aura that would be around all the Hashira and Tanjiro alike would dissipate, and fall with their bodies, and immediately they would be on the ground, heavily breathing and barely able to move. And with Muzan finally defeated, everyone is now safe, but their lives through the usage of Kaioken, well, physically will never be the same. But they get helped out by all the, people, all the other various demon slayers and other assistants that are there, and they get helped back to the Butterfly Mansion to fully recover from the most insane and important fight of their lives. But luckily enough, they lasted until sunrise, and this world can live normally forever with Muzan gone and the demons extinguished. And that is where this story ends. the end of what if Tanjiro could use the Kaioken. A little bit of faster pace toward the end of this what if. I know I actually like faster pace stuff where I kind of talk about the fights, but then I kind of skip through some of like the normal dialogue stuff that may show up. But yeah, I hope you guys still enjoyed. Nonetheless, I'm tinkering with how I want to do things, but at the end of the day, I want to get as much content out for y'all as possible, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Now, with that said, if you guys enjoyed, like I said, show all the love in the world if you can. Now, yeah, that's all I got to say. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.